Hi there. We're going to do another potato reveal here, but this is going to be a little different because we are digging a potato out of the tuber plot. And this variety is Tollocan number 11, and my nickname for it is Yog Shogoth. It was my highest yielding TPS seedling in 2017, and it gave me 4 pounds. It's a pretty unusual potato. It's not going to be anything like the standard commercial potato varieties. So what I want to do is kind of get a baseline yield from it. So I'm going to dig 10 plants. So we're going to have the fork stuck in here at the end of the row, and we'll pull out this, and then we'll just go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it's a little hard to say because it's a plant that sprouts. It doesn't just come from the seed tuber, it sends out stolons that then come up out of the ground. It's an extremely unruly potato. So I think that's 10 plants. So one thing about this potato is when you pull back the mulch, a lot of times, because I have harvested some of these already, there are potatoes you belong over here, I think. This is a different variety. So this guy is fairly small tubers overall, and they're kind of an odd mix of white, buff, and purple skinned, and that actually is also true inside. They're a white and purple flesh potato as well. See that? Forked it right through. So one of the problems with your unruly, long stolonizing potatoes is you don't, even if you know where the row is, you don't know where the potatoes are. So you end up damaging more of them because they're anywhere, you know. There's not really any safe place to put your fork. So and I've been harvesting these, and you can see my feet are basically where the row are, and here are potatoes, you know, miles away from that. I found them, 2-3 feet away from where the seed pieces were. So it's kind of a challenging potato in that regard. Not super sure that I'm in love with it. It's also waxy flesh, which I'm not crazy about. It's not my favorite. I'm a floury potato kind of guy. Very much so. Although I like waxy potatoes in, you know, dishes where they're appropriate. I mean, waxy potatoes are nice for soup and quiche, you know, because they don't hydrate and fall apart the way floury potatoes do. The starch so Yog Shogoth is kind of a joke nickname because I'm, you know, ambivalent about the potato. Yog Shogoth is like the demon father of the Dunwich Horror in the short story by H.P. Lovecraft, or demon, or whatever you call those Lovecraftian Cthulhu. I'm not really an H.P. Lovecraft fan. I did like the Dunwich Horror. I thought it was a good short story. I've never really been able to get into anything else that he wrote, but I thought Yog Shogoth was a funny name for a potato. You know, it kind of exemplifies my ambivalence about this potato. It's, you know, in some ways very powerful potato, but also you wonder if you really want it in your life or not. I kind of want to point this out. Okay, so this is a stolon. This was attached to the end of a potato. Then it's coming along, it's making a baby potato. Then here's the stolon coming along. It splits, and then it makes two vines. This is not behavior that you're ever gonna see from a commercial potato. Okay, there's the harvest, starting from about right here, going to about there. It's about, you know, 12 feet, maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 plants. So in the interest of science, I'm gonna actually wash the mud off of these potatoes, and we'll get a weight and then average it. We'll call it 10 plants because that's what I tried to count out. And it's, I gotta say, the color of these, the purple, is really reminiscent of the purple that you get on the Jamesy eye. And I'm wondering, I know that they did cross. Tollocan is a Mexican derived potato from the Mexican National Potato Program. So I'm not sure how much Mexican wild potato genetics it has in it, but I mean those potatoes, and Tollocan is, you know, a blight resistant line, and blight comes from Mexico, so blah blah blah. Anyway, Yog Shogoth, that's a pretty decent harvest, I would say, from, you know, 10 plants. Okay, here we are, all washed up. Now obviously washing them up compromises their storage ability, but in the interest of science, I decided to just figure out what our yield was minus all of the mud. Cut a few open for you to see. This one I sliced, so we can. So it's kind of interesting potato. And I've also noticed this habit they have, at least some of them, where they're darker in some areas of the potato than others, you know. Let me just, this one I speared really bad. Oh, it's really muddy. But, so that gives you a sense of what they're like. White and purple, kind of interesting. Okay, so what we're gonna do, it's cold, my batteries, I've got this old scale. I'm just gonna put the potatoes in this grain bag, and we'll try and get a weight before the cold kills my battery. So that is 10.5 kilograms, 23 pounds. 23 pounds divided by 10 plants is 2.3 pounds per plant, which is acceptable yields. And that's about, well, since it was about 10 feet, 10 plants, 2 pounds per row foot. Most of them were in this range the first year, and then this year I've got quite a few potatoes that are much larger, but the yield per plant, you know, was much lower. So that's something to keep in mind, like between your seedling year and, you know, your tuber growing years, like they're going to be different. Your seedling year is not 100% representative of what, you know, it's going to continue to be like. I hope this was interesting, and thanks a lot for watching.